I recently purchased a DJI Mavic 2 car charger so I could charge my batteries in the field using my car's power outlet. I had seen some reviews and read some forum posts where it was stated that this charger would not work if the car was not running. In fact, even DJI's website states, and I quote, allowing you to charge batteries while driving. I was curious if the car I normally use for my outings would have an issue with charging the Mavic 2 battery while it was not running. So I grabbed my voltmeter, my car charger, and some batteries and gave it a go. Just to let you know, the car that is being used to test the charger is a 2018 smaller Ford SUV. I've now plugged the Mavic 2 car charger into my power supply, and I've set the voltage at 13.8 volts, and as you can see, the charger is charging as it should. Now I'm going to drop the voltage down to 12 volts, and you can see that it is still charging, and as you can also see, it's drawing about 6 amps. Now I'm going to drop the voltage down a little bit more. We'll go ahead and go down to 11.9. Still charging. I always have to pause a moment because it can take a moment or two for it to kick in or kick out. I'll now drop it down to 11.8. Let it sit for a minute, and it is still charging. I'll now drop it down to 11.7 volt. And now it is no longer charging. So 11.7 in that general neighborhood appears to be the cutoff voltage that DJI has built into the car charger. Of course, this is built into the charger so that it will not drain your car battery down any lower than 11.7 volts, so you can at least start your car again. So I hooked up my power meter in my car to the rear power outlet with the engine running. I let it run for a few minutes, and then I turn the engine off, and as you can see, the voltage is now dropping down. Keep in mind, too, that this car doesn't have a huge battery in it. It's a pretty small battery, particularly compared to my van and my truck, which those batteries have much more capacity than this smaller car does. And I won't bore you to death here, but the voltage drops down. I'll kind of skip ahead here, but the voltage drops down to about the 12 point, when it's finished, 12.4 range. Now this shows the DJI car charger charging my Mavic 2 battery plugged into my front power outlet, and there is the engine is not running. The car is not running. And the battery had started out with about a 25% charge when I first started charging it. And as you can see here, again, going to the back of my car, looking at the meter, the voltage almost immediately dropped down to 12.26 when the battery started charging. But 6 amps is a pretty good draw, so it definitely will pull the battery down a little bit. Now this is the same battery that I showed charging earlier. I did move it a little bit because I set the camera up on the tripod. It just made it a little easier to film it sitting at this angle. And the battery's been charging about an hour, 10 hour, 15 minutes. And then as you can see, it finally completed the charge, and it didn't just turn off. It did complete the charge, as you'll see. It shows a fully charged battery. And my engine has never been on. It's all been running off just the battery and the power outlet here. This is a second battery that I hooked up just to show that it is indeed still charging. And this battery had about a 60% or so charge on it. And it, as you can see, again, it took right off and is charging just fine. Um, I I won't finish showing this one charging, but I have no doubt that there would be no problem for this second battery to charge. Now I'm taking my camera and tripod to the back again to show the meter. Um, and as you can see there, the voltage is still showing 12.19 volt. And when I first started charging the first battery, it was, you may not remember, but it was showing 12.26 volt. So it's only dropped a small amount of power out of the battery. And I'm a long ways from the 11.7 volt, which my car battery would have to go to before the charger would turn off. I am pleased with how the charger works in my car, but of course your mileage may vary. You could get different results depending on the age and the size of the car, and of course the condition of the battery. Hopefully this unscientific demonstration explains why the charger may or may not work in different cars while the car is not running. This charger does pull a lot of amps, and that's a good thing, so the battery's charged in a reasonable amount of time. Also, having the charger cut off at 11.7 volts is actually a good thing, as it's nice to have your car start to get a ride home after a day of droning.